Welcome back. My name is Jay Oza. I teach, mentor, and coach people on public speaking so that they can give winning high stakes speeches, whether it's for a job interview, a business or sales meeting, or even at a conference. Today, I want to talk about pitching. And this is a two-part series that I'm going to record. This video is going to be on the basics of pitching. How do you pitch somebody about anything, whether it's email or face to face? Now, this one's going to focus like you're doing it by email, because that's what I do most of the time, by email. But you can apply it and if it's face to face also. And in the second part is how would you like somebody to pitch you? Because if you're pitching at some point, you're going to become important and you want other people to pitch you. So what do you do for that? I'm not going to cover that in this video because that's a separate topic. Most of us have difficulty with pitching. So let's talk about pitching. What is pitching, by the way? Pitching is an ask, but it's more than an ask. It's ask with a purpose, but it's more than ask with a purpose. It's ask with a purpose after you've done a good amount of homework so that there's a high chance that the pitch will at least be considered and possibly even accepted. There may be some modifications made. So what you don't want to do a pitch is you don't want to spam people and just randomly send out an email like a boilerplate and just send. It has to be targeted. So we're not talking about that I'm just going to pitch 100 people with the same message. No, that's not what pitching is. That I call it, I don't even know what to call it, spamming or whatever. And don't even try that. You're not going to learn that from here. You're going to have to go somewhere else. I'm talking about you have identified one person and you want to send a pitch. You don't even have to know the person. Sometimes you may want to just include that in the contact and make it so compelling that that person would want to come back to you and ask more questions. Okay, so that's what we're talking about regarding pitching. And again, pitching is one of the most important skills for success. If you don't ask, you don't get. You already know that. But a lot of people just don't know how to pitch, and then they don't get anywhere. There's no point in being good at something if you can't pitch. Nobody will ever know about it. Before I go into it, let me just acknowledge a person whose webinar I watched. I learned a lot from her webinar. A person's name is Joan Stewart, and she did a webinar on how authors can pitch to different people or entities. And it's a webinar she did with Joel Friedlander, and I'll include that in the description or notes section of this video. So you can go view it yourself. And the whole webinar was so good that I ended up purchasing what she was offering so that it would simplify my effort in trying to reach different people, as I'm currently working on a book and it should be out by the end of this summer. So that's when what she was offering kind of directly applies to me. And because of the webinar was so good that I learned a lot from the webinar, but then I said, look, I need that extra 10%. It seemed like she almost gave us 90% of it, but I wanted that additional 10%. So hat tip to Joan Stewart, and I want to thank her because I learned a lot from watching that webinar, and I would recommend that's how you do a webinar. You give 90%, and those people that are really interested are the ones you want. They'll purchase your product for that additional 10% that they're likely to get. And I see nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good way to doing business. So thanks a lot, Joan. So let's get back to pitching. So the first thing you do in pitching is, after you're assuming you want to ask, you have a purpose, and you've done your homework, come up with a compelling subject line or headline, whatever it is. So that's the start, so that the person right away knows what this is about. Okay, so headline, you can come up with it, say, interested in having you come on my show, or something like that. Because I tend to pitch people to have them come on my show called Speech Talk Live. It's a YouTube show I do to get guests to offer their tips, techniques, insight on public speaking. Okay, so I'll put that as a headline, that request for appearance on show. Details, read the rest of the email or something like that, okay? Okay, so then the first line, and it usually should be the first line, get right to the point. Why are you sending it? And I typically say, I'm sending it because I'd like this person, so-called, to come on my show because of so-and-so. Just one sentence, right to the point. So the person knows, what is this about? What are you trying to really ask? If the person doesn't know what you're asking, that person may not even read the rest of it. Get right to the point. Ask, what is it that you want? Okay? That cannot be more than one sentence. Okay, so first, let's call it a paragraph, should be one sentence. And one of the things I should point out at this point is that this pitch, the first pitch, pitches usually are two, part one and part two, right? The first pitch should be brief, and based on the interest, they may ask you to send more information. So the second pitch is going to be more detailed. That's typically what I do. The first pitch is simple to get the interest, because I don't want to put too much effort. I'll have all the highlights in that and keep it as short as possible. The first pitch should be short as possible. The second pitch could be longer. And I'll explain that to you recently as I'm trying to get this guest to come on my show. I went to their contact information on their website and I sent a short pitch. I got an email back saying, hey, we set up a call. Based on the call, it was a 15-20 minute call we had. Now I'm working on sending a more detailed pitch. And then they'll make a decision on that, and that's fine. And that's the way it should be, okay? That if it's done right, that's how far it should go. So we got the first paragraph. The second paragraph, you have to let the person know, how did you come to know about this person? Where have you heard of this person? Is it, I usually say, if I met the person, I will indicate that. At one time I was at a Speakers Bureau presentation and I met this guy, Tom Wininger, and I specifically said that. And that person I met, and I said, hey, based on our meeting at the Speakers Bureau, like that. So right away there's a context there. But a lot of times I don't meet people. So then what do? You just say, listen, I saw your video on Google, or I read your blog, or I heard you on this podcast, or I saw you being mentioned in this article, whatever it is. Context. Or you could have read their book. Some context so that the person knows where you're coming from. How do you know this person? And a lot of times when you put that down, that piques their ears, perks their ears, like, wow, this guy knows something. Let me read the next paragraph. So each paragraph is to get them to read the next paragraph, right? So that's the second paragraph. How did you come to know the person? What's the context here? The third paragraph is important. That's about you. What is your expertise? Like, okay, here's what I want. Here's how you came to know the person. Now you talk about why are you even contacting this person. So I usually include my expertise as that, as I just included in the beginning. I teach, mentor, and coach people on public speaking, and I like to do this video to not only learn, but I also do it as a service to help others, being a mentor on the Coursera public speaking platform, and also I volunteer for Hire Heroes to help military veterans get jobs, and the rest of the people who want to improve their public speaking skills. So that's my expertise, and also I mentioned that I'm currently, right now I'm currently working on a book that should be out by the summer. So I've kind of given them my expertise. I don't go into too many details because let's face it, today we have LinkedIn, people can look you up, okay? And you can always include your website if you want, if they want to get more information, which comes at the end, but just want to let you know that you don't want to make this too detailed because they're not going to read all of that. So brief, maybe 2 sentences, 3 sentences if your expertise, but don't go beyond 3 sentences. Okay, so now we took care of first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph was your expertise. The fourth paragraph is, what is it, the benefits? What is the person going to get out of it? Are you going to promote them? Are you going to publicize them? Is there an opportunity for them to, be able to sell themselves by doing the show and the content that you're producing? You're going to educate, you're going to motivate. There's so many different words you can use, but pick 3. But I'm going to promote you. It'll be an opportunity to sell your services through your thought leadership or something like that. Exposure, get the message out on what you do. So things like that, the clear benefits on what they're going to get. Now again, this is a short one, so you don't want to get into too many details. The lengthy one, you can go into more specific benefits on what exactly are you going to do. So this time, look, this would be a great opportunity for you to promote your expertise. It would be a great opportunity for you to uh, show your thought leadership, and a great opportunity for you to educate a wider audience. Like that, something like that, simple, no more than 3. Then the next paragraph should be, what exactly do you want the person to do? So in my case, it's pretty simple. I'd like them to come on for a 30-minute interview on YouTube video. That could be at any time that they choose, since I'm the one who's asking. So I'll give them that flexibility. And afterwards, they have to approve it, so that nothing will get on the air until they approve it. So that's what I put down. Okay? And then this is the critical part that a lot of people miss. What do you want them to do after they read it? So here I make it very clear. Yes, if you agree with what I'm saying. No, if right now is not the good time for you to do it. And then I also put something that please at least respond, so that I know that I'm, please at least respond. Something like that. You can determine, so that they know that there's a yes and no is fine. So you're giving them an out, which I think is very important when you're pitching. Always give an out. No, I understand right now may not be convenient. Then we can do it at some other time. Never make it like no is the end of it. That's one thing you have to be very careful when you're pitching. Yes doesn't mean yes exactly. Yes means that there could be buts there could be and there, and they will have an option to make certain changes, which is fine because you're getting a yes. No always means not now, not now, or no doesn't mean never. So always make it clear, no, not now. And the third thing is, please at least respond with a yes or no. That's it. Okay? And then you can include like the rest of the details, your phone number, your email. Email's already there, your website, Twitter handle, whatever. And that's it. That's the pitch. Send it. Believe me, it works. I would say it's not 100%. I would say you're looking at probably, depending on how much time you spend, probably 50%. So 50% of the people will, and I have to make it clear, this thing that I just told you about yes, no, and please at least respond, I have not done that. I just started that recently. So I have a feeling that that will increase the rate of reply. Okay, a no is a good answer. And I have gotten one no, which is kind of a polite no, where, I can't do it for another 6 months, which is kind of a polite no, but at least I got a response back, so I have their email. And that's the thing. Once somebody responds, means that you're on the radar. They know who you are. You have a trail now. So you at least, so the main objective of a pitch by email is to get a response. Yes is a great response. No is a good response. No response is a terrible. That essentially is a message that somebody's sending. And this is the message. When you send it to somebody who's out there, whether it's a politician, businessman, or whoever, they have staff. They are in public life. That's how they do it. They're in the business. You're not bothering somebody who's like hidden in some monastery, okay? These people are out there with their emails and all that. If they don't respond, that they're kind of telling you, or the interpretation is that you're not even worthy of a response. And that's not good, no matter whoever it is. Whether it's Oprah Winfrey, whether it's the President of the United States, whether it's some politicians. And I've had some bad experience with a few politicians who I basically supported when they were starting out. And recently, when I sent them this type of a pitch, I didn't get a response. And that ticks me off, because they have a staff who should at least be responding. I don't expect them to give a direct response, but at least let me know that you got my email, you looked at it, you considered it, but I at least got a response back. So I just want to let you know that when there is no response, it's something you should not take it lightly. There's nothing you can do about it, but it's a statement that somebody's making that I don't think you're worthy of me to even respond. Okay? So that's the pitch. And pitch as often as you can, but again, pitch should be targeted. Don't just randomly send it out. One pitch isn't going to work for another person. Each pitch is specifically targeted. And if you follow these steps that I've outlined, and you can modify it and tweak it as you want. It seems like there's a lot here, but once you start doing it, you're going to become good at it. And save all your pitches so you know which ones work, which ones do not work, how much time you spent in, and what kind of response did it elicit, and things like that. These are the kind of things you got to keep track of because pitching is a very important skill. And the only person that knows whether it's working or not is you. So turn this into kind of your method that if you're not good at this, everything else won't matter. Pitch is where everything starts. So if you become good at it, you can send out multiple, several, 5, 6 pitches a day as if you've done your homework. Okay? So I think you have everything at this point on how to pitch. And there are a lot of good resources out there that I'll include, but don't make it too complicated. This is not that difficult. The real difficulty part here is you got to ask. Then you got to have a purpose. And you got to do your homework. The rest of it is pretty mechanical. You know, the first sentence, the ask with a purpose. The second one is how did you get to know about them? Third is your expertise. 4 exactly is the benefit. 5th is exactly what you want them to do. And then the last thing is what exactly do you want them to do with this email? Yes, no, and please at least respond with the first 2. That's it. And then give more details. And when you get a response back, here's what can happen. A pitch is never going to be, yes, I'll come on the show. They're going to have more questions. You'll have to do a call. And then that's going to result in a more detailed pitch. And that's what I'm going through right now with some of my people that I'm trying to get on the show. And always remember, yes is a great answer. No is a good answer. And no just means not now. You can always target them later on with a better pitch. Now here's the thing that I should say before I close this out. A pitch is about learning. If a pitch works, somehow it resonated. When a pitch doesn't work, that means that pitch has to be improved. For example, when Donald Trump calls any CEO, they all get on the plane and head to meet him at White House because Donald Trump is the president. Even though they may not want to meet him, they have other things to do, they stop everything. So the point I'm trying to make is, if the pitch is coming from the right person, since I'm not the president, that's not going to work with me. I don't have $1 million where I can say, well, if you do this, I'll give you $1 million. So that isn't going to work. I have to give them something that gets them interested. And one thing I'll tell you, people always like, everybody likes free publicity. So if you promise to offer free publicity, whether, hey, I'll put your things out on social media. If you're making an effort to do the video and produce it somewhat lightly and put it on YouTube and promote them, and remember, the people you're targeting are people you already like. You're not going to promote somebody that's written a crappy book or a book you don't agree with. These are people you do like. They've done something and they made an impression on you. So you're already a fan. Now the thing is, because you're such a fan, you're taking that next step and promote them even further, publicize their work. And let me tell you one thing, people love free publicity. Let me repeat that again. People love free publicity. What I'm telling you here is me telling you. You can say I'm bullshitting you and you're not going to pay attention. But if I can get my friend Julie to talk about me, hey, that doesn't cost me anything. Hey, Julie, can you do that? Great. I'll come on your show. You know, I'll do this. Everybody loves free publicity. Everybody wants to be promoted because I have no idea who's going to watch my friend Julie's show. And it's not costing me anything except if she's done all the work and she's given me, here's what I want to do, here's what the show will contain, and I'll publicize you on different community and all that. Hey, that's better than marketing, spending money on marketing. This is all part of your marketing. You got to get the word out. So don't think that somehow, oh my God, that person won't come on my show. People will come on your show. If they're not coming on your show, that they're making a statement that, you know, I'm so fat and happy, you don't mean anything to me. And let me tell you, there are very few people like that. So I just wanted to let you know there's a lot of fear out there. What if I get rejected? What if I get rejected? Yes, you will get rejected. But if you're willing to go out your way and do work to really, even if there's nobody out there, they at least have you to promote them. And one of the things I always tell them, look, I'll promote you on social media. I'll promote you on this Coursera platform. You will have a content out there. Plus, I'll promote you because you're coming on my show. I'll get to know you. I'll promote you both publicly and privately. And I'll even include you in my book if there is a content here that I can use. So there's so many ways that I am going out of my way to promote this person for doing me this favor. They just can't refuse. That's what I call a rejection-proof pitch. You got to make it so rejection-proof that they have to be so fat and happy or stupid to reject it. And that's how you should view your pitch. Don't fear about somebody saying no. If you're offering all these things, then let them pay for all that. And let me tell you, nobody wants to do that. Okay? So at this point, I'm going to close this out. Let's keep this dialogue going because there's a lot here, and there are courses and courses offered on this, but you don't need to take any courses. What I've given you is all you really need. If you have any ideas, comments, questions, or suggestions, just put it on the comment section and I'll reply. And if you ever need help with high-stakes speaking, then let me know, joza@fitoolgroup.com, and I can help you with that. And as always, thank you for watching and good luck with your future pitches.